Introduction. Imagine the inner chambers of your mind as a theater where thoughts take center stage and silence isn't so quiet after all. What if in the solitude of your own mind echoes persistent thoughts refusing to exit the stage? Uninvited guests in the form of disturbing images or dreams you can't control, playing on a loop in your mental theater like a mischievous puppeteer. The mind winds up your emotions and causes you to react in ways you never anticipated. In the intimate moments alone with your thoughts, negativity may overshadow the quiet you crave. These unsought, persistent, and unwelcome companions create a mental symphony of unrest. But fear not, for we hold the power to orchestrate a shift toward positivity. A humorous thought, the melody of your favorite music. These simple interventions can transform the mental landscape, providing a reprieve from the relentless negativity. This isn't the plot of a spine chilling movie. It's a reality that transcends cinematic tales. It's a universal experience, touching the lives of children, teenagers, and adults alike. Welcome to the intricate world of intrusive thoughts, a phenomenon often misunderstood and erroneously confined to clinical diagnosis. In truth, the feeling of losing control over our thoughts is a shared journey, a narrative that binds us all, whether spurred by stress, the thirst for retribution, or the restlessness of a contemplative mind. We've all grappled with thoughts spiraling out of control. Venture with me on a journey through the unknown territories of the mind, where thoughts dance with abandon and silence reveals its true symphony. The theater of your mind awaits, and within these pages, we'll unravel the threads of intrusive thoughts, empowering you to take center stage in the story of your own mental narrative. The question then becomes, when does this occur? How often are these experiences? Are they funny, serious, or anger related? How intense are the moments? Our minds are constantly using imagination to navigate and process every aspect of our lives, from simple day to day tasks to complex problem solving. Imagination is a powerful tool the mind uses to construct reality. However, sometimes imagination can get out of hand and produce intrusive thoughts that can range from harmless to causing a mental breakdown. It's important to note that experiencing these intrusive thoughts does not necessarily mean that one has a disorder. It simply means that the mind is out of balance and needs to be recalibrated. This is all part of the human experience, as diverse and complicated as we can possibly be. This condition does not discriminate. It crosses cultural, social, and economic boundaries, leaving its footprints in various forms. Intrusive thoughts are just one manifestation of this mental imbalance, and they are a mental battle fought daily by millions of people like you. These thoughts can be distressing, and they can cause anxiety, guilt, and shame. However, these thoughts do not reflect who you are as a person. By acknowledging and understanding these experiences, you can take steps to handle the effects and reduce their impact on your life, whether through therapy, mindfulness, or other self care practices. There are ways to address and overcome harmful thought occurrences. If you have any hostile or aggressive ideas, you're not alone in the struggle. Imagine yourself trying to drive a car, but your navigation system changes the route every few seconds. You're trapped, not because you're lost, but because the voice in the GPS won't stop redirecting you. That's how it feels to wrestle with intrusive thoughts. Every attempt to move forward gets hijacked by potentially disruptive, distressing, and seemingly unmanageable thoughts that pop up, unrequested and uncontrolled. Most intrusive thoughts are harmless in nature, much like daydreams or straightforward anxieties. It's the negative thoughts or dreams that can cause a great deal of distress and disrupt one's life. These uninvited, persistent thoughts can occur at the most inconvenient times and refuse to leave peacefully. They often lead to anxiety, fear, and compulsive behavior that temporarily aggravates the distress. Unfortunately, most people find only short term solutions to deal with them. Have you ever noticed how some negative thoughts come and go, while others seem to return over and over again? It's like a cycle that never ends and can be incredibly burdensome. When your mind is preoccupied with these intrusive thoughts, it's easy to lose focus on what really matters. That's why it's important to understand, manage, and overcome these thoughts that have been holding your peace of mind hostage for too long. Let's work together to break the cycle and find a way to move forward. This audiobook is designed to help you explore the labyrinth of intrusive thoughts. Together, we'll decode their patterns, triggers, and impacts. And most importantly, we'll identify strategies, exercises, and insights to manage these thoughts. With the right guidance and tools, you can work toward taking control, finding relief, and living the life you want. Remember, you are not alone in the struggle, and it's essential to recognize and understand the depth of these challenges. By embarking on this path toward understanding, acceptance, and empowerment, you can find hope for a peaceful mind and personal growth. Each day is a unique experience that can bring both calm and distressing moments. Sometimes these moments can take the form of intrusive thoughts, ranging from minor worries to more alarming images or impulses. When dealing with these thoughts, it's natural to engage in compulsive behaviors. These behaviors are a way for your mind to cope with the overwhelming sensations created by these thoughts. They may seem irrational or excessive to others, but they serve a purpose. However, it's important to note that these actions may provide only temporary relief and are not the solution to the disruptions. These thoughts can create a cycle of anxiety, leading to frustration and temporary relief. And then the cycle repeats. Remember to take care of yourself and seek support when needed. Misconceptions add to your burden. It's disheartening when your genuine struggle is misunderstood or trivialized. People often mistake intrusive thoughts for a quirky personality trait or a desire to avoid certain things. This lack of understanding can lead to insensitive comments, isolation, and the harmful stigma that mental health conditions are not real illnesses. You might even find it difficult to talk openly about your experiences, fearing judgment or misunderstanding. Anyone not currently in a mental battle won't understand the complexity of the internal issues, whereas the individual might be reliving or experiencing more new and different situations. And the mind creates the scenarios. Living with intrusive thoughts can be utterly harmless to feeling like you're walking on a tightrope, with fear and uncertainty on either side. Many people get to the point where they're constantly afraid of losing control over their thoughts and actions. The uncertainty surrounding the future of your mental stability can also be intimidating, with questions such as, will I ever get better? Will these thoughts ever stop? How will this impact my life in the long run? Such questions might haunt you, adding to your mental distress. There's nothing like your brain wondering without you initializing the thought process. Some ponder how many different ways can the imagination take a natural or artificial situation into uncertainty. The fear of the unknown and the unexpected can trigger anxiety and leave one feeling vulnerable. Intrusive thoughts can feel like a battle that follows you everywhere you go, impacting your personal and professional life. Maintaining healthy relationships is challenging, and focusing on work can be equally tricky. Taking care of your mind requires attention, love, time, and maintenance. Navigating through these challenges can be daunting. Sometimes it might feel like the world is closing in on you. But I want you to remember this: your pain is real, and your struggles are valid. And most importantly, you will find the light at the end of this tunnel. With understanding, determination, and the right strategies, you can gain control over these intrusive thoughts and live a life free from their domination. It may be a journey, but it's a voyage worth taking. As you turn the pages, you'll embark on a transformation that will shine a light on the intricacies of your struggles, while offering you the tools to regain control over your thoughts. This is a comprehensive guide to understanding the complexity and the challenge of dealing with intrusive thoughts. As you advance through the chapters, you'll better understand your thoughts and the underlying patterns and triggers, leading to more self awareness. One of this book's standout benefits lies in its practical strategies. You won't just learn about your condition in theory, but you'll gain guidance on managing and reducing intrusive thoughts. The inner truth will come out. Keep your eyes on the prize and maintain an open mind. Like holding your anger, it's only one letter from the word danger. The practical techniques and exercises are designed to empower you, allowing you to challenge your fears and effectively manage your symptoms. They will act as your compass, guiding you towards self improvement. This book also aims to lessen the pain caused by societal stigma and misunderstanding. Shedding light on the realities invites more understanding and empathy, encouraging you to embrace your journey without fear of judgment. This will pave the way for more inclusive, compassionate dialogue about mental disruptions, empowering you and others like you. Investing in your well being is crucial for a happy and fulfilling vitality. These pages offer insights, techniques, and advice to help you with cognitive awareness and improve mental stamina. Following the strategies shared can pave the way toward a life free from intrusive thoughts and compulsive behaviors. You'll be able to truly enjoy your personal, professional, and social experiences without the constant battle. With dedication and perseverance, you'll break free and be satisfied. Remember to take everything one step at a time and celebrate each progress along the way. This book will be your lighthouse, illuminating the darkness that intrusive thoughts frequently bring. It's intended to aid your shift from being constrained and helpless to empowering, understanding, and transitioning. It's not just about adjusting your sanity. It's also about writing a new story. You're not alone in your worries. So many people have dealt with the same types of thoughts and fears that you're experiencing right now. These intrusive thoughts can take a toll on multiple aspects, from personal relationships to getting through the day at work. I've seen the impact they can have. It's tough, but there are ways to cope and move forward. You won't be the only one to experience the severe distress brought on by invasive ideas. Many people have restless nights due to tension, dread, and the overwhelming need for tranquility after a tough week or a challenging year. Everyone encounters times of loneliness, misunderstandings, and various degrees of intensity. However, my experiences aren't confined to struggles alone. I've traveled the world and studied the path of understanding, accepting, and managing these intrusive thoughts. Over time, through trial and error, research, I've shared years of experience working in the hospital environment with professionals, and I can halt your cycle. I've discovered tools and techniques that helped many regain control over the mind, giving the relief and peace that everyone longs for. I'm committed to sharing these insights and tools with others battling challenges. I can understand your burden and fears and see the path you're walking right now. You can't let the behavior of others mess up your inner peace. Coming to terms with what drives your mentality will display great starting points, preventing your mind from taking you on an adventure. If you're tired of feeling controlled by your thoughts, long for a break in the relentless cycle of fear and compulsion, don't let your intrusive thoughts dominate another day. It's time to regain control, stand up against your tension, and embark on a journey toward an unrestricted mindset. Experiencing anxiety due to uncertainty and unpredictability can make anyone feel powerless. Your mentality doesn't define your state of mind, your attitude does. Chapter 1. What are intrusive thoughts? Beneath the burden of the conscious mind lies a realm of uninvited thoughts, existing as shadows in the sunlit reality of our lives. Carl Gustav Jung. Intrusive thoughts, as the name suggests, are thoughts that intrude into our conscious awareness, typically characterized by their unwelcome nature. They can range from slightly disturbing to deeply distressing, often causing significant anxiety, especially when they become persistent. These thoughts may revolve around a variety of themes, including harm, doubt, violence, sex, and religion. Intrusive thoughts are prevalent in many mental health conditions, most notably obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD. Where do they come from? To truly begin our journey in understanding and dealing with intrusive thoughts, it's crucial to first uncover their origins. Although these thoughts come from nowhere, they're part of the usual flow of human consciousness. The human mind is a constant swirl of thoughts, feelings, and sensations, many of which we barely notice. However, when an intrusive thought pops up, it's like a rock being thrown into a quiet pond, disrupting the calm surface with ripples of distress. Interestingly, everyone experiences intrusive thoughts to some degree. You may have found yourself driving and suddenly imagined watching a car wreck of someone you know. Or maybe you've had a fleeting thought of jumping from a high balcony, even though you're not suicidal. Perhaps your life is stressing you out, and you're at wit's end, trying to figure it all out. Dealing with a recent heartbreak can be a challenging and overwhelming task for anyone. Your mind may be consumed with thoughts of your ex partner, and you may find yourself constantly trying to figure out how to move on and make it work, whether it's with or without them. It's a natural human instinct to want to hold on to what we love. But finding a way to let go and move forward can be a healing process that leads to personal growth and new opportunities. These thoughts can be disturbing, but they are entirely normal. When these thoughts become persistent, distressing, and hard to manage, they evolve into something more serious, such as OCD. In individuals struggling with OCD, the brain's filter for sorting important thoughts from unimportant seems to malfunction. Instead of dismissing these unsettling thoughts as insignificant, the brain flags them as necessary. This sends a signal of distress, leading to increased anxiety and a desire to neutralize the thought with a compulsion or ritual. Behind the scenes, the mind tries to figure something out with or without your participation. And honestly, since the brain controls everything, you don't have much say in the equation. You can bite your lip, punch the steering wheel, scream, cry, run around the block, and you're still arguing with yourself. Intrusive thoughts can be time consuming, often taking up significant chunks of your day. This can interfere with your routine, be it work, study, or leisure activities, making it harder to meet deadlines or enjoy your free time. Next, there's the emotional toil. The distress caused by the pressure to perform leads to feelings of anxiety and depression. These emotions can further drain your energy and zest for life, creating a vicious cycle that seems hard to break. Relationships always feel tension and strain. Misunderstandings can arise as loved ones struggle to comprehend the nature and extent of their experiences. You may find yourself retreating from social engagements to handle your symptoms, leading to feelings of isolation. Physical health can also be affected. The constant stress takes a toll, potentially leading to headaches, muscle tension, and sleep disturbances in thinking processes. The origin of these thoughts can be also linked to how we deal with our fears and anxieties. For example, if you're intensely afraid of getting sick, your mind may generate thoughts about contracting germs or getting infected with the flu. These thoughts, in turn, cause more fear and anxiety, creating a vicious cycle. Moreover, certain life events and environments can increase the likelihood of experiencing intrusive thoughts. High stress situations, traumatic events, or significant life changes can act as triggers. These thoughts have roots in our upbringing, societal influences, and personal values. It's worth noting that intrusive thoughts in themselves don't define our character or intentions. They don't reflect who we are or what we truly want. In fact, they often represent what we fear the most, which is why they cause so much distress. Recognizing the origins of intrusive thoughts is an essential step toward understanding and managing them. This knowledge can aid in demystifying these thoughts, reducing the fear and stigma around them, and providing a solid foundation for developing effective management. Remember, the goal isn't to immediately halt these thoughts altogether. That's nearly impossible. But rather, change how we react to them by countering the process and ultimately reducing their impact on our lives. With persistence, focus, and redirection, you can say, "Goodbye, birdie." Abundance of mentally created environments. In the complex universe of the human mind, the birthplace of intrusive thoughts is as diverse as the thoughts themselves. These unwelcome mental visitors can find their roots in natural environments such as the tangible surroundings, the observable world around us, mentally created environments, hardships, the loss of a loved one, divorce or fights, sudden unemployment, a scary movie, something witnessed even on the internet, difficult days at work, strangers, crazy drivers, stupid people, injured animals, unable to help another, not strong enough. The past haunts you. Anything can trigger intrusive thoughts. For instance, from one of these above, if you've recently lost a job, thoughts about financial instability might invade your mind persistently. These thoughts, though distressing, are a normal response to the stress and uncertainty of your current situation. Environmental stimuli can also evoke intrusive thoughts. If you've had a traumatic experience with a dog, merely seeing a dog can trigger distressing thoughts about the incident. On the opposite side of the spectrum, the loss of your animal can easily reminisce for years. And either way, you'll become emotional because you've lost part of yourself. Similarly, if you're concerned about injuries, you may prevent yourself and others from participating in anything. In these cases, the intrusive thoughts arise as a reaction to a perceived threat in your environment. On the other hand, our mentally created environments, shaped by our beliefs, values, fears, and desires, also play a pivotal role in introducing more intrusive thoughts. You may not desire or care for a relationship if you harbor an intense fear of having your heart broken. These concerns twist the mentality from past events or knowledge from someone else, alerting you to potential danger. You might avoid sitting or trying to relax because you don't want your mind to be idle. These are examples of your mentally created environment influencing your thoughts. The mental constructs of guilt and morality can also function as fertile grounds for intrusive thoughts. If you value honesty and accidentally tell a white lie, you might be bombarded with thoughts of being dishonest. Your thoughts indicate a possible conflict between your actions and your moral standards. It's essential to mention that certain mental health conditions can create internal environments conducive to intrusive thoughts. In anxiety disorders, the mind is in a state of heightened worry and fear, making it a perfect setting for distressing thoughts to bloom. Depression can paint a grim internal landscape. where thoughts of self harm or worthlessness can spring up. Understanding these natural and mentally created environments can provide invaluable insights into why specific intrusive thoughts occur and persist. This understanding can enable us to develop strategies to manage these thoughts effectively. In the case of mentally created environments, cognitive therapies can be beneficial. This type of therapy can help you identify and change those negative thought patterns and misbeliefs contributing to intrusive thoughts. Mindfulness techniques can also assist in creating a more balanced and less fear driven mental environment. Remember, intrusive thoughts are a standard part of the human experience. They're not a reflection of your character or desires. By understanding their origins, both in the real world and within our minds, we can reduce their distressing impact and reclaim control over our mental well being. The key here is not to wage a war against these thoughts, but to navigate them with understanding, self compassion, and practical strategies. The goal is to change our response to these thoughts, transforming them from monstrous intruders into something harmless, just passing by in the bustling city of our minds. Teasing on the mind. Life, with all its twists and turns, often presents us with stressful, isolating, or even downright hurtful situations. When we find ourselves trapped in such circumstances, our minds tend to react in ways that might not always be helpful, including the generation of our imaginations. Let's take a deeper look at how stress, isolation, and teasing impact our mental state. Stress can actually be beneficial, serving as a motivator to get tasks done or as a signal of potential danger. However, when stress becomes chronic or overwhelming, its effects on our mental well being are far from positive. Our minds, in an attempt to cope, might start creating alarming scenarios or replaying distressing events as intrusive thoughts. Think of it as a misguided defense mechanism. Alert to a potential threat. Our mind is stuck in a loop, trying to solve a problem or evade a danger that might not exist. This often leads to feelings of anxiety and a sense of being out of control. Since childhood, we have had an imagination and creativity flows. Inventions get created, and so do all forms of ideas. Isolation, whether physical or emotional, also significantly impacts our minds. Humans, as social creatures, crave connection and belonging. When isolated, we can easily slip into negative thought patterns, and intrusive thoughts can become more evident. Our mind, starved of external stimuli and interaction, turns inward. If we don't have a healthy way to express our emotions and ideas, we might find ourselves struggling with our own thoughts, fighting against an overwhelming flow of unwelcome mental distractions. Lastly, let's talk about teasing. While teasing is often seen as harmless banter, it can have a profound psychological impact, especially when it's persistent or targets our insecurities. Teasing can erode our self esteem, and this damaged self image can breed intrusive thoughts. For example, if you're often teased about your appearance, you might start having distressing thoughts about your looks, even when no one's teasing you. These thoughts, rooted in the painful experiences of being ridiculed, can persist long after the teasing has stopped. In today's society, countless millions are often overly concerned with their looks and appearances. This has led to a rise in cosmetic surgeries, clothing sales, and an overall obsession with fitting in. Unfortunately, this focus on external appearances often means people prioritize their looks over their well being, relationships, and happiness. Many individuals feel the need to conform to societal beauty standards, which can lead to a lot of pressure and anxiety. They may fear being judged, rejected, or ridiculed if they don't meet these standards. This may result in a pattern of questioning oneself and being critical, which can be challenging to overcome. As a result, people turn to cosmetic surgeries, such as liposuction, nose jobs, or breast augmentation, to improve their appearance. While there's nothing inherently wrong with wanting to look your best, the problem arises when people become obsessed with changing their appearance to fit an often unattainable image. In some cases, cosmetic surgeries can even become addictive, leading to a constant need for more procedures to achieve the desired look. Clothing sales are also a reflection of this obsession with looks. People spend a significant amount of money on clothing and accessories to keep up with the latest fashion trends. They may feel they need to wear certain brands or styles to fit in or be accepted. However, this can lead to a culture of consumerism, where people are constantly buying new clothes instead of focusing on what truly matters. In the pursuit of looking their best, people often neglect their mental and emotional health. They may be so focused on their appearance that they forget to care for themselves in other ways. Losing yourself to the world will bring depression, anxiety, and low self esteem. It's important to remember that true beauty comes from within, and that it's essential to take care of yourself, both physically and mentally. The purpose of comprehending these impacts is not to induce a sense of helplessness or hopelessness. On the contrary, this knowledge equips us to take steps toward better mental health. By knowing the stress triggers for our intrusive thoughts, we can learn stress management techniques. If we realize isolation aggravates our intrusive thoughts, we can seek connection by joining support groups or contacting trusted friends or professionals. If we find that past teasing has left us with a barrage of negative thoughts, we can work on building self esteem and challenging those thoughts. The impact of stress, isolation, and teasing on our minds is undeniable, as is our ability to adapt and heal. By acknowledging these influences, we can start to comprehend why we think the way we do. And then we can gradually guide our minds toward healthier paths. Yes, it requires time and effort, but the journey toward better mental health is always worth taking. The normality of thoughts. Intrusive thoughts are often misunderstood element. They can be alarming, distressing, and even downright bizarre at times. It can be easy to feel isolated or abnormal when plagued by these unwelcome mental interlopers. However, these thoughts are a part of the average human experience. They aren't indicative of a faulty mind or a flawed character. They're simply a testament to complex and sometimes unpredictable human thought processes. We all have these unsolicited thoughts that pop up out of nowhere. They might catch us off guard while we're doing mundane chores, or they might interrupt us in moments of silence. From the new mom who has a fleeting thought of dropping her baby to the devoutly religious individual with an inexplicable blasphemous thought. They appear unannounced in various forms and often at the most inconvenient times. The acceptance of intrusive thoughts doesn't make them any less distressing. However, acknowledging their normality can lessen the additional stress we often impose on ourselves. The stigma attached to admitting the presence of such thoughts can lead to unnecessary shame, guilt, or anxiety. By understanding that these thoughts are common to all, we can foster a more accepting attitude toward them, which is the first step in learning to manage them effectively. Interestingly, the mere act of trying not to think about something can make that thought more persistent. This phenomenon is known as the white bear problem, named after a classic study in psychology. Participants were told not to think about a white bear, but they ended up thinking about it more often. If you're trying hard to suppress or avoid intrusive thoughts, you may inadvertently give them more power. This doesn't mean we should surrender or let these thoughts control our minds. We can learn to let these thoughts come and go without engaging with them or assigning them undue importance. Fear of the unknown. One of the more challenging aspects is dealing with the constant anticipation of the next unwanted thought. This often goes hand in hand with the fear of the unknown. It's the mental equivalent of waiting for something to happen, even when there's no certainty of anything coming. It creates a cycle of anxiety that's tough to break. If you're familiar with this apprehension, you know how draining it can be. It's like your mind is always on high alert, bracing for the next wave of unwelcome thoughts. This constant vigilance can be exhausting, both mentally and physically. It can also intensify the impact of the intrusive thoughts when they do come, amplifying the distress they cause. This fear of the unknown often stems from a desire to control our thoughts and experiences. We humans like predictability. It gives us a sense of safety and order. But there's often little predictability or control regarding our mindsets. This lack of power can be scary, leading to fear of the next thought. Acknowledging this fear is an essential step toward managing it. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to admit that you're finding it hard to deal with the uncertainty of your life. This isn't a sign of weakness, but an act of self compassion and self understanding. Once you've acknowledged this fear, you can begin coping. This can involve various strategies. For some, it might mean practicing mindfulness, focusing on the present moment rather than worrying about what the future holds. For others, it might mean learning to accept the uncertainty and understanding that it's okay not to have complete control over your world. Some people find setting aside specific worry time during their day helpful. During a 30-minute window, you allow yourself to worry about whatever is on your mind. But once that time is up, you consciously refocus your attention on other things. This can provide a sense of control without letting the worry take over your entire day. Another strategy is to challenge the fear. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? When we examine our fears closely, we often realize they're not as terrifying as we initially thought. This isn't to belittle your fear, but to help you gain a more balanced perspective. By challenging our fears, we can also develop a sense of resilience and confidence in our ability to handle difficult situations. One important thing to note is that these strategies aren't meant to eliminate your nervousness. Instead, they aim to help you manage your anxiety, to lessen its grip on your life. Remember, it's okay to have fears, and it's okay to have intrusive thoughts. What matters is how we respond to them. Fear of the unknown and anticipation of a stressor can be daunting. With patience, understanding, and the right coping strategies, you can learn to live with uncertainty. This will help you avoid being paralyzed by the unknown and enable you to face it head on. In doing so, you'll discover the strength and resilience that's within you and realize your true potential. Every step you take toward managing your fear, no matter how small, is a victory. And every success will bring you closer to a healthier, more peaceful mind. It's a journey, like anything. It has ups and downs, but remember, you're not alone. And with every step, you're becoming better equipped to handle whatever comes your way. Hormonal shifts. When hormones and metabolism are out of balance, it can also affect our mental health. Imbalances in hormones such as cortisol, serotonin, and dopamine can lead to symptoms of anxiety, depression, and other mood disorders. Additionally, metabolic imbalances can lead to problems such as weight gain, fatigue, and insulin resistance, which can further exacerbate mental health issues. It's important to pay attention to both physical and mental symptoms of hormonal and metabolic imbalances, and seek appropriate treatment if needed. The result can be surprising. For some, it may manifest as increased intrusive thoughts. The human brain is a complex and susceptible organ, responding to even minor changes in the body's hormonal levels. There are at least 50 different types of hormones. These hormones are produced by the glands throughout the body. Each is responsible for regulating various bodily functions, including growth and development, sexual desires, metabolism, mood, pleasure, and reproduction. Some of the prominent hormones include insulin, estrogen, testosterone, and thyroid. Sexual activity has been shown to increase the production of testosterone, which is vital for maintaining sexual desire and function in both men and women. Testosterone is an essential hormone for both men and women. In women, testosterone is created in the adrenal glands and ovaries. It plays a key role in maintaining sexual desire and function, as well as contributing to bone health, muscle mass, and overall energy levels. However, females naturally have lower levels of testosterone than men. When testosterone levels are too low, women may experience a decrease in sexual desire, fatigue, and mood changes. In addition, sex can reduce levels of stress hormones such as cortisol, which has adverse effects on the body when levels are too high. Sexual activity will also release endorphins, which are genuine painkillers that improve mood and reduce feelings of anxiety or depression. When these hormones fluctuate, it can affect the brain's function and our thoughts and emotions. It prepares our body for the fight or flight response. The chronic stress you experience leads to increased cortisol levels, which can disrupt your brain's balance, making it more challenging to manage thoughts and emotions. This disruption can increase the frequency of intrusive thoughts. Serotonin, often called the feel good hormone, regulates mood, anxiety, and happiness. A serotonin deficiency can lead to depressive symptoms, anxiety, and yes, an increase in unwanted intrusive thoughts. Meanwhile, fluctuations in sex hormones, such as during the menstrual cycle, menopause in women, or pregnancy and age related situations, will decrease the testosterone in men and impact mental health. These changes will heighten our susceptibility to other behaviors. Recognizing the connection between hormonal shifts and mental intrusions is a step toward understanding and managing these reflections. While it may feel like your mind has turned against you, remember that these thoughts are likely a symptom of these hormonal changes and not a reflection of your character. Now, what can be done about this? Maintaining hormonal balance can be a complex task, often requiring the assistance of a healthcare provider. Yet, there are steps you can take on your own to help support hormonal health. Regular exercise, a balanced diet, adequate sleep, stress management techniques, and a healthy sex life can promote a more restorative hormonal balance. If sexual situations become a problem, it's important to be fair with one another, be involved with each other, and practice foreplay whenever possible. Prescription medications are available if needed to help maintain hormonal balance. Adding a positive attitude while being loving and kind to one another will always take your relationship to the next level. If hormonal imbalances continue to cause distress, or if you suspect they might be contributing to your intrusive thoughts, it's crucial to seek professional help. There are effective treatments, including hormonal therapies and cognitive behavioral therapies, that can help manage these symptoms. It's important to remember that hormones are just one puzzle piece. Various factors, including genetic predisposition, environmental factors, and personal experiences, all contribute to our mental health. That said, understanding the role of hormones offers another insight into why you may be experiencing these challenging thoughts. Intricate understanding. It's a common misconception that intrusive thoughts accurately represent one's true desires or intentions. People often believe that if a thought enters their mind, it must reflect something about themselves. However, this is far from the truth. The human mind is a complex and creative entity, capable of generating thoughts from anything it knows or can imagine. Intrusive thoughts can originate from various sources. We are not our thoughts. Just because a thought enters our mind doesn't mean it's a true reflection of our desires or intentions. This means that ideas can emerge from nothingness and quickly spiral out of control. The concept that intrusive thoughts accurately reflect one's true desires or intentions is a myth. As we uncover more about our brain and body's intricate workings, we can better equip ourselves to manage and navigate mental challenges. It's like understanding a map. The more features you recognize, the better your chance of successfully navigating the landscape. Chapter 2: Self Awareness. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Aristotle. Overcoming intrusive thoughts can be difficult, but it all starts with a critical first step of self awareness. It's easy to feel lost in the whirlwind of your mind, where ideas seem to take on a life of their own. However, developing self awareness is like having a beacon that guides you through the storm. It enables you to recognize your thoughts and feelings for what they are, rather than allowing them to control you. By understanding your own patterns of thought and behavior, you can gain a sense of control over your mind and develop strategies for managing intrusive thoughts. Self awareness can also help you identify triggers that lead to these thoughts and develop coping mechanisms to deal with them. It's not an easy process, but it's essential in the journey toward mental wellness. Life has twists and turns. Life, as we know, is not a straight path. It's an intricate maze filled with twists and turns, ups and downs, lights and shadows. No one's journey is linear. And it's important to remember that as we navigate the trials and tribulations we encounter, just like physical health, mental health is an aspect of life that requires constant care, effort, and understanding. And sometimes, even with our best efforts, things don't go differently than planned. Some people feel they're hiding a broken heart behind their smile. These lines evoke a powerful image of someone who's struggling internally while putting on a brave face on the outside. Someone may convey that everything is fine, while the real issues are often invisible to others. But that doesn't make them any less real or painful. The tears that fall when no one is looking remind us that the battles we fight within ourselves can be just as challenging, if not more so, than the battles we face in the external world. The phrase, "a soul is battling behind your body," captures the idea that the struggle is happening deeper, beyond what others can see or hear. It highlights the significance of acknowledging and addressing our inner battles rather than sweeping them under the rug or pretending they don't exist. Ultimately, these moments serve as a poignant reminder that we are all human and have our own struggles and challenges to overcome. Mental health issues, such as intrusive thoughts, are one of the obstacles life throws our way. They do not indicate failure or weakness, but are simply a part of the human experience. People struggle despite the misconception that they're rare or abnormal. By emphasizing that more and more people will participate in this fight, the passage acknowledges that mental health concerns are becoming increasingly common, and that we need to start treating them as such. Everyone, at some point in their lives, will struggle with these issues in one way or another, whether it's due to stress, anxiety, or other factors. Sharing experiences is a powerful tool to alleviate feelings of isolation and despair. Numerous online communities, support groups, and resources can help you connect with others who understand what you're going through. You can find comfort in their stories, gain insights from their experiences, and draw strength from their victories. But what can make dealing with intrusive thoughts even more challenging is the societal misunderstanding and stigma surrounding these conditions. These misconceptions often make people suffer silently. Perhaps it makes them too scared or ashamed to seek help. It's vital to break these barriers of misunderstanding and replace them with knowledge, empathy, and acceptance. Education about the realities of the intrusive thoughts is the right step in doing so. Keep in mind that these issues are passing quirks or phases of the mind. However, in some cases, seeking the help of a professional may be necessary to provide proper care and support for those affected by these conditions and the societal norms that surround them. Living with intrusive thoughts is undoubtedly challenging, but recognize that there's no normal in life. Each individual faces a unique set of challenges, obstacles, and unexpected deviations. And while it might seem like your path is particularly thorny, you don't have to traverse it alone. Reaching out for help, connecting with others, and learning to navigate your unique journey can make the road less daunting. Not everyone desires to share with others what's happening deep inside. We'll cover how to become centrally balanced to neutralize these thought patterns and replace them with new programming. Life is a roller coaster ride. Others like you fight internal battles and strive for a happier mental state. This audiobook is your companion in solving the problem. You don't want to sit there and do nothing by living with the pain. Soon, you'll be on your way to a healthier mental state. The mind isn't as strong as you'd think. In the grand orchestra of the human body, the mind is the maestro, directing the symphony of thoughts, feelings, and actions that make us who we are. We often consider the mind an invincible fortress, able to withstand any storm. However, the truth is that our minds, much like the rest of our bodies, have limits. They can be influenced, shaped, and sometimes overwhelmed by our experiences. Consider, for instance, the case of intrusive thoughts. These are instances where the mind, under specific circumstances, manifests patterns that can be distressing and disruptive. The repetitive thoughts, impulses, or mental images are intrusive and unwanted. This is not to say that our minds are weak or defective. Far from it. What it does suggest, however, is that our minds are susceptible, malleable, and sensitive to both internal and external influences. Life experiences, genetic predispositions, and biochemical imbalances can all affect the mind's functionality, leading to mental alterations. There are always three sides to any situation that cause the mind to wonder: what you think, how someone else thinks, the actual reason why it occurs. Knowing this can help in reframing our understanding and approach to mental health. Issues are not personal failings or a lack of willpower. They result from complex interactions between various factors, much like other health conditions. By acknowledging that our minds are not as invincible, be proud of who you are. Don't be ashamed to open the door to understanding and effective intervention. You'll never speak to anyone more than yourself. The longer you live in the past, the less future you'll have to enjoy. Understanding the nature of our minds delegates us to seek help. Recognizing that mental health conditions are legitimate health issues is not just a matter of snapping out of it. Whether talking to a trusted friend, seeking professional help, or joining a support group, reaching out can make a world of difference. Coping with intrusive thoughts involves recognizing the vulnerability of our minds and taking steps to care for them. I'll introduce you to various strategies and insights designed to help manage these thoughts and behaviors. These are not quick fixes, but steady, gradual steps toward gaining control over your mental landscape. While it's true that our minds can learn, adapt, and grow, they can be retrained to respond differently to intrusive thoughts. They can form new habits, break old ones, and create healthier patterns, such as whatever hurts you, close that door. That way, you'll be able to open it at your convenience. So yes, the mind isn't as strong as we think regarding immunity to controlling our mentalities. But our minds are indeed formidable regarding resilience, adaptability, and the capacity for change. And with the proper knowledge, tools, and support, we can harness this potential to manage intrusive thoughts effectively. Understanding this balance and acknowledging the vulnerability of our mind while harnessing its resilience is an aspect of navigating life. It paves the way for empathy, understanding, and practical strategies for coping with intrusive thoughts. Internal battles. Imagine going through a day with a playlist of thoughts you didn't choose and find distressing. These may cause you significant anxiety and disrupt your day to day activities. Now, imagine trying to explain this internal turmoil to others. It's a challenging task. And more often than not, it can be impossible to express your exact feelings because nobody is walking in your shoes. What you've lived through or witnessed through your eyes stunned your psyche. You can't shake it off. Most people internally face it, looking for an answer. Expressing one's personal and complex experiences can be daunting, especially when others may not fully comprehend. Acknowledging and comprehending these internal struggles is vital for managing and overcoming distress, both for the individual experiencing them and those around them. Those with intrusive thoughts live with a constant internal, overwhelming dialogue. It's not just a matter of overthinking or being a bit obsessive. It can be an intense, often distressing experience, affecting all aspects of life. And explaining this to others can feel like describing a color they've never seen before. It's not as simple as choosing to stop thinking about them. The nature of this condition isn't a control switch. It's something other than a lack of willpower or self-discipline. The individual's brain structure leads to the persistence of these thoughts and occasionally the urge to perform compulsive behaviors. For those trying to comprehend this internal struggle, it may pose its own set of difficulties. People might not be familiar with the concept of intrusive thoughts, or they couldn't grapple with preconceived ideas or stereotypes about mental health. The desire to help might be there, but they may feel powerless or uncertain about how to extend their support. In these instances, transparent and empathetic communication plays a vital role. Articulating your experiences to others may seem complicated, but perfection is not required. Begin with the primary explanations. Define what intrusive thoughts are. Express how it feels to experience them, and communicate your preferences regarding their responses. Most importantly, if you're already seeking help from others, let them know how they can best support you. Someone trying their best to understand another's experience takes patience. A trustworthy friend could listen attentively and ask open-ended questions later. For others, it's vital to respect each other's boundaries and recognize that each experience is unique. Be supportive without trying to fix them or trivialize their experiences. Educating ourselves and others about these internal battles is one meaningful way to decrease the stigma around mental health and make individuals with intrusive thoughts feel less isolated. We can create a supportive environment where people feel understood and accepted by demystifying these unwanted or wanted thoughts. Comprehending these inner conflicts can be quite challenging. Nevertheless, we must do so. By demonstrating empathy, exercising patience, and maintaining open communication, we can make notable progress in comprehending and assisting those grappling with their personal issues. Are the thoughts unusual for you? Have you ever wondered if your thoughts are unusual or just a stretch of different realities? If you've landed on this question, you're moving in the right direction. Realizing these conceptions of the mind creates environments that could be altered, repeated, or completely different reality. You may have encountered troubles in life derived from the heart. For example, there's nothing stronger than love. And if there's emotional hurt or suffering, your mind collects mental scars. After you experience pain, the brain doesn't know what to do and could replay images such as a video trying new things out. Depending on the nature of the emotional damage, the mind could create harmful thoughts, vivid images, or downright torture you with everything you're being faced with. It's common to have doubts or uncertainties about the nature of your thoughts, especially if they are persistent. Acknowledging this difference and recognizing that they may not align with your typical thinking patterns can be crucial to understanding what's going on in your mind. In some cases, examining your old mentalities and thought patterns can help you find new avenues for positive corrections. By reflecting on your past experiences and thought processes, you can identify triggers or habits contributing to your intrusive thoughts. This self reflection can provide insights into your behavior and help you develop strategies for managing your thoughts and emotions. It's common to encounter unfamiliar, uneasy, and frightening thoughts that seem to arise out of nowhere and persist, despite your best efforts to eliminate them. Individuals with intrusive thoughts are particularly familiar with this challenge. Recognize that everyone has unique thought patterns. Experiencing these thoughts doesn't necessarily indicate an abnormality, although some professionals title the entire subject as having a disorder. Keep in mind, thoughts fall into one of these categories: depressive, obsessive, spontaneous, or nervousness. Our thoughts are a reflection of our experiences, fears, desires, and a multitude of other factors. However, when these thoughts become perpetually disturbing, they can cause undue stress and erratic behavior. The nature of intrusive thoughts can greatly vary, from general anxiety and depression to mental images of harming oneself or even others, fear of contamination, unwanted sexual thoughts, or extreme focus on religious or moral ideas. These thoughts can be extremely unsettling and often do not align with the person's values or character. That's why they feel so unusual. Understanding these thoughts does not reflect your desires or intentions, but is instead a symptom of the stress, anxiety, and challenges you're facing in life. Coming to terms with this recognition can be challenging, as people who carry heavy burdens often keep their emotions to themselves. It's natural to feel conflicted when you realize your thoughts are unusual. Although it can bring relief and validation, it can also present challenges. Remember, once again, you're not at fault for experiencing these thoughts. Recognizing that these thoughts are a symptom of stress, anxiety, and life challenges. Your mindset is your most significant asset. Don't be surprised if you feel paranoid. You might feel frustrated or scared. You might wonder why this is happening to you. You might worry about what this means for your future. These are normal reactions. It's okay to feel this way, and it's okay to seek support when you're feeling overwhelmed. We recognize our thoughts and emotions aren't from us, but some other driving force. Asking for help is a sign of courage, not weakness. There's no shame in reaching out for support. You didn't choose to feel this way. It doesn't reflect your character. Don't let fear or embarrassment keep you from getting the needed help. Remember, you deserve love, happiness, and good mental soundness. As you'll soon learn how to move forward toward a brighter tomorrow, focus on your priorities. Because other than God, nobody else will. Loss of mental control. Imagine trying to hold water in your hands. No matter how tightly you clench your fists, the droplets slip away, seeping through the cracks. For people grappling with obsessive compulsive disorder, maintaining cognitive control can often feel the same: elusive and frustrating. The irritation stemming from potentially losing mental control will feel like war is occurring within your body. Intrusive thoughts may rob you of being in control of your mind. One moment you're engrossed in your daily life. The next, you find yourself pondering. These thoughts are unwanted, distressing, and could be remarkably persistent. They stubbornly resist your attempts to dismiss them, creating a sense of loss of mental control. After all, Our minds are supposed to be our sanctuaries. And when they're invaded by distressing thoughts that we can't seem to get rid of, it's understandably frustrating. You may feel irritated, exasperated, or even angry as you grapple with these thoughts, or an imaginative video. The irritation you may be experiencing can manifest in different ways. You might feel frustrated that you can't seem to stop specific thoughts, anxious about their intrusive nature, or even angry at yourself or others. But please remember that these feelings are not a sign of personal failure. In fact, they demonstrate your strength and determination as you continue to confront and overcome this challenge. Recognize when things are tough and cause you distress. For self awareness, write down what's happening and what you remember from each episode, and keep those notes for another chapter. While you may be unable to stop intrusive thoughts from entering your mind, there are ways to change how you respond to them. The power of these thoughts lies in the importance we attach to them, not in their mere existence. Learning to respond to these thoughts differently can help reduce their impact and minimize the irritation you feel from the perceived loss of mental control. In the subsequent chapters, I will guide you on developing skills and strategies to manage your responses. These strategies will equip you to cope better, reduce the distress caused by these thoughts, and regain control. Excessive daytime sleepiness. For those struggling with the battle, it doesn't end when the lights go out. It can stretch into the next day, making each person experience excessive daytime sleepiness. The persistence of intrusive thoughts and compulsions can disrupt sleep, leading to a cycle that leaves individuals feeling perpetually tired and drained. These thoughts can leave your mind on constant high alert, impacting your sleep quality. Even if you manage to sleep through the night, the unrest in your mind prevents you from achieving the deeper stages of sleep necessary for rest and rejuvenation. Consequently, you might wake up feeling as though you haven't slept at all, and this feeling of excessive sleepiness can persist throughout the day. Experiencing excessive daytime sleepiness goes beyond just feeling tired. It can significantly impact your ability to concentrate, perform well at work or school, and even affect your overall quality of life. Furthermore, it can worsen symptoms of depression or anxiety, making it even more challenging to manage unwelcome thoughts. It's important to keep in mind that this cycle is simply a part of your experience and is not a reflection of personal failure. In the upcoming sections, various strategies will help address these issues to improve sleep quality and reduce daytime sleepiness. Sleep anxiety and nightmares. Many of us regard sleep as a breather from the worries and stresses of the day. Yet, for those battling themselves, sleep can bring its own set of anxieties. Sleep anxiety, where the thought of falling asleep triggers anxiety, stress, and nightmares, can be experienced. This sleep anxiety can stem from various factors. Some people may dread the quiet and solitude that comes with night, leaving them all alone with the unknown. Others might experience stress over their sleep routine, worrying about the impact of a restless night the next day. Moreover, some may have anxiety about nightmares that bring their intrusive thoughts to life in vivid, unsettling detail. Nightmares can serve as a nightly theater for intrusive thoughts, projecting them into complex and often distressing scenarios. They can disrupt your sleep and make going to bed stressful. This nocturnal replay of your daytime distress can leave you physically and emotionally exhausted. These experiences are challenging, and they can sometimes make you feel helpless. For millions of people, falling asleep with noises in the background can be a soothing experience. Whether it's the sound of white noise, raindrops, or gentle music, these sounds can create a sense of calmness and relaxation that helps people drift off to sleep. Some even find comfort in listening to the sounds of nature, such as the chirping of crickets or the rustling of leaves. While the idea of sleeping with noises may seem counterintuitive to some, For others, it's an effective way to create a peaceful and restful environment. In fact, many people use noise machines or apps specifically designed to produce calming sounds to help them relax and fall asleep. Help is available, and there are strategies you can adopt to mitigate these challenges. From establishing a regular sleep routine to learning techniques for managing anxiety, there are steps you can take toward more peaceful nights and less anxious days. Write down some of your concerns. Before you go to sleep, is there anything that you are concerned about regarding the upcoming week? Were there any ongoing issues that caused your mind to not settle down, resulting in little or no sleep? Are you reliving or playing back a situation? Or is your mind creating events? Can you remember the scenario and what was happening? Keep these answers so we can address them in a later chapter. Chapter 3: The Vulnerability of the Mind. Have you ever experienced a sensation where you feel like you're being overwhelmed by a tidal wave of emotions that could potentially drown you? That's the human experience, a constant dance with our feelings. Sometimes we stand firm, other times the tide pulls us under. This vulnerability and capacity to feel is what makes us human. It makes us capable of love, joy, and connection, but also leaves us open to fear, sadness, and at times emotional overwhelm. Imagine a dam that's built to hold back a river. It's strong, steadfast, and designed to keep the water in check. But sometimes the water levels rise too high. The pressure builds up, and suddenly the dam isn't strong enough anymore. It bursts, and the river floods, overpowering everything in its path. It's when our emotions become too intense, too much to hold back. The dam bursts, and we're flooded with feelings that seem too powerful to control. Emotional overwhelm isn't limited to negative emotions. While it often accompanies feelings like anxiety, sadness, or anger, it can also occur with positive emotions. Have you ever felt so excited or happy that you thought you might burst? And while it's more pleasant than the harmful types, it can still be intense and even a bit scary. So, why does emotional overwhelm happen? The power of emotions. Emotions are a fundamental part of our human experience. They're strong, powerful, and sometimes unpredictable. When these feelings become particularly intense, the mind releases more thoughts. Individual differences. Some people are naturally more sensitive to their emotions than others. These individuals, often called compassionate people, are more prone due to their heightened emotional responses. Unresolved issues. Sometimes, emotional overwhelm can signal unresolved issues or unprocessed emotions. If we haven't fully dealt with certain feelings or experiences, they can build up over time, leading to overwhelming emotional reactions. Stress and fatigue. Both physical and mental fatigue can leave us more vulnerable. When we're tired or under stress, our capacity to cope with intense emotions can be significantly reduced. How can we handle emotional overwhelm? Practice mindfulness. Involves focusing on the current moment without judgment. This practice can help us manage ourselves by allowing us to observe our feelings without getting swept up. Then, concentrate on one aspect at a time versus taking it all in at once. Self care. Taking care of our physical health can also support our emotional well being. Regular exercise routines, a healthy diet, and adequate sleep can help reduce our vulnerability. Seek support. Sometimes we need some help navigating our feelings. This could come from a good friend or family member, even a support group, a mental health professional, or a local church. Express your feelings. Expressing your feelings can be a therapeutic practice for maintaining good mental health. You can let them out through talking, writing, art, or any other form of expression that feels right for you. In case you're unable to find a way to express yourself, you can ask around for suggestions. It's vital to keep yourself from living idle by doing something productive you enjoy. If you've ever been to the beach, place your belongings on the ground and gone swimming, you will realize you're moving after a few moments. The ocean flows to the shore at an angle. Before you know it, you'll look at your belongings and see yourself further away than where you started. You can either swim against the current or return to shore and then walk back. Navigating your feelings is challenging, but it's entirely possible with the right tools and support. It's about learning to swim in the ocean of our feelings or taking a safe path of least resistance. We might get swept under now and then, but each time we resurface, we become stronger swimmers. And while it can be challenging, it's also a testament to your strength and resilience. Appropriate versus inappropriate. Every day, our minds generate countless thoughts. Some seem ordinary, like what to make for dinner, while others may be more significant, such as the purpose of our existence. Alongside these conscious thoughts, we grapple with subconscious reflections we may not fully recognize or understand. This ever flowing stream of thoughts contributes significantly to our perceptions, experiences, and actions in the world. But how do we distinguish between what is appropriate and inappropriate regarding our thoughts? First, understand that all thoughts are neutral, neither good nor bad, right nor wrong. They're simply neural activity within our brains. However, the weight we assign to these thoughts, our interpretations, and our actions based on them can transform them into something appropriate or inappropriate. When discussing appropriate thoughts, we often refer to those that align with societal norms, ethical considerations, or values. For instance, if you have an idea about helping a friend in need, you might consider that thought appropriate because it aligns with your values of kindness and compassion. In contrast, inappropriate thoughts may violate these societal or personal norms. These could be thoughts of harming oneself or others, promoting prejudice or discrimination, or infringing upon someone's rights or dignity. It's normal to have thoughts and worries about the future, and it's important to remember that these thoughts don't necessarily reflect your true intentions or actions. The human mind is a complex entity, and it's not uncommon for it to generate ideas that seem out of sync with who we perceive ourselves to be. So, if you have any concerns about the upcoming week, try not to worry too much. And remember that you have the power to control your actions and decisions. So, what influences the thought patterns? Several factors come into play, such as cultural and societal norms. The society we grow up in significantly shapes our ideas about what's acceptable and what's not. These norms vary widely across different cultures and societies, impacting our notions of appropriate and inappropriate thoughts. The brain absorbs most of your internet activity, surroundings, and thinking processes for a later time. Personal values and beliefs. Our personal values and moral compass also play a significant role. What you deem appropriate might differ from someone else based on your unique set of values and beliefs. Context. How a thought arises impacts its appropriateness. For instance, a joke that's appropriate among friends might not be suitable in a professional setting. How can we manage inappropriate thoughts? Acknowledge them. It's more tedious trying to ignore or suppress these thoughts. Remember, these thoughts don't define you or your character. Understand their source. Are these thoughts a result of stress, fear, anxiety, or some other emotional state? Understanding the root cause can often provide insight into why these thoughts appear. Whenever your mind wanders away, it can be helpful to document what happened. Do your best to recognize the patterns and triggers that lead to your mind rambling. You can write down in a journal or take a quick memo on your phone and jot down some notes about what was distracting you. This can help you identify any recurring thoughts or concerns that may be contributing to your wandering mind. By being mindful of your thoughts and documenting your experiences, you can take steps to enhance your focus and concentration. What do you see or feel? Where does it derive from? Do you recognize any of the images? What type of emotions are you feeling? How long do these moments appear or reappear? Challenge them. Challenge a thought that seems inappropriate or harmful. Ask yourself, does this thought align with my values? Is it based on fact or assumption? Seek professional help. If inappropriate thoughts become overwhelming or lead to distress, don't hesitate to seek professional help. Therapists and psychologists can provide tools and strategies to manage these thoughts effectively. Practice mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness allows us to observe our thoughts without judgment, reducing their power over us. Similarly, meditation can help in creating a healthier relationship with our thoughts. A mind is a thought generating machine. It's bound to produce thoughts that you find pleasant, unpleasant, appropriate, or inappropriate. You are not your thoughts, but the observer of your thoughts. Understanding and managing your thoughts better allows you to navigate life with greater peace and clarity. After all, you might approach your mindset like this: my thoughts are like my socks. Once upon a time, they were a good fit. This pair shrunk. Another has a hole in it. And either way, they're mine. Society's labels, disorders, and mental health. In society, we use labels to create a shared understanding of different phenomena, from objects to behaviors and conditions. It's no different when we talk about mental health. Titles such as anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia, among others, are used to describe sets of symptoms and behaviors that people may experience. But how do these labels impact our understanding of mental health? And how do they influence those living with these conditions? Mental health labels are double-edged swords. On one hand, they offer clarity. They help healthcare professionals communicate about the condition, guide research, and inform treatment strategies. A diagnosis can provide relief for someone who's been struggling with unexplained symptoms. It can give them a sense of understanding and a path forward. On the other hand, these labels can also lead to stigma and stereotypes. The media often perpetuates harmful narratives around mental health disorders, leading to discrimination, social exclusion, and self-stigma. People might start to see themselves only through the lens of their diagnosis, which can affect their self-esteem and sense of self-worth. Furthermore, the labels we use in mental health are not as straightforward as those in physical fitness. While a broken leg is a broken leg, mental health disorders present themselves differently in different people. Two individuals with a diagnosis of depression might have vastly different experiences, symptoms, and coping mechanisms. So, what role does society play in this process? Stigma and stereotyping. The stigma around mental health is one of the most significant barriers to seeking help. Stereotypes like people with depression are just lazy, or people with schizophrenia are dangerous, can prevent people from acknowledging their struggles and seeking help. These harmful narratives need to be actively and continuously debunked. Understanding and empathy. When we cultivate empathy and compassion in our relationships, we create a safe place for individuals to share their experiences without worrying about being judged. This is especially important in the context of mental health, where stigma and shame can prevent people from seeking help. By promoting empathy and understanding in our interactions, we can form a positive atmosphere that fosters open discussions about mental health. Support and accessibility. Making mental health resources such as therapy, medication, support groups, and educational materials accessible can be an excellent way for society to help individuals struggling with mental health issues. Thanks to the internet, there is now a broad range of resources available that people can access easily. Avoiding label driven identity. It doesn't matter what mental health condition a person might be dealing with, it won't define them as a whole. A diagnosis can undoubtedly help understand the nature and the severity of the condition. Still, it's essential to avoid getting caught up in the labels and then letting them define the person's entire identity. Labels. People dealing with cognitive disruptions are much more than their diagnosis. They are unique individuals who happen to be facing certain challenges in their lives. But that's just one aspect of who they are as a person. The labels used in mental health are tools for understanding, communicating, researching, and treating. They help professionals to identify and categorize symptoms, which are used to develop effective treatment plans. However, it's important to use these labels productively rather than destructively. Labels can be stigmatizing and lead to a sense of shame and isolation for anyone. Therefore, avoiding labels that reinforce negative stereotypes or perpetuate harmful attitudes is paramount. If we are going to use labels, it's imperative that we use them in a way that uplifts individuals and promotes understanding, rather than perpetuating stigma. The labels society uses hold immense power, as they can shape perceptions, behaviors, and policies. It's crucial to recognize that everyone has unique experiences, strengths, and potential that a label cannot fully capture. Ultimately, it is up to society to take responsibility for constructively shaping these designations. Through education, empathy, and support, we can redefine the narrative around mental health, moving from stigmatizing labels to a more nuanced, compassionate understanding of the human mind and its complexities. Once the mind has been expanded by a new idea, it can never return to its original dimensions. It speaks to the transformative nature of knowledge and its impact on our lives. Learning something new can change how we see the world, alter our beliefs, and shape our behaviors. This can be both liberating and daunting, as it challenges us to question what we thought we knew and adapt to new perspectives. The process of expanding our minds is ongoing, and it requires a willingness to explore new ideas, challenge our assumptions, and embrace uncertainty. The evolving nature of knowledge fosters continuous growth and learning. Despite the complexity of expanding our minds, we recognize the transformative power within discomfort. Confronting challenging ideas allows self discovery and a deeper understanding. Through this process, emerge as a more compassionate, empathetic, and connected individual. The impact of self judgment. There's a voice inside all of us, acting as our inner critic. This voice judges us more harshly than anyone else could. It questions our actions, worth, and choices, often leaving us feeling inadequate or inferior. This is self judgment, and its impact on our mental health is significant. Critically evaluating ourselves, our actions, and our thoughts often lead to a negative self concept. Although it's natural to assess our behavior and make changes if necessary, being overly harsh on ourselves can be detrimental. This internal dialogue shapes how we perceive ourselves, influencing our self esteem and self worth. Downplaying our emotions can lead to feelings of inadequacy, depression, and anxiety, and can even hinder our ability to make decisions or take action. So, why are we so hard on ourselves? One reason might be societal expectations. Society sets high standards for success, beauty, intelligence, and more. It's easy to internalize these standards and judge ourselves based on them, even if they're unrealistic or unattainable. Personal experiences also play a role. Past failures or negative feedback can lead to an unwillingness to move forward. It can be a way of protecting ourselves from future disappointment or criticism from others. If we judge ourselves first, it won't hurt as much when others do it. Regardless of the cause, being overly hard on oneself can lead to significant distress. So, what can we do about it? Awareness. The first step is acknowledging the presence of this self judgment. Notice when you're being hard on yourself and what triggers it. When you catch yourself in action, you'll be more aware to stop the attitude in its tracks. Self compassion. If you practice treating yourself as you would a friend, would you judge a friend as harshly as you consider yourself? Chances are you wouldn't. So why not extend the same kindness to yourself? Reframe your thoughts. Are they based on facts or just your perception? Try to reframe these thoughts in a more balanced, positive way. Mindfulness. Maintaining peace can help us stay present and avoid spiraling into negative self judgments. It involves noticing our thoughts and feelings without resistance. Seek support. If self judgment is causing significant distress, it might be helpful to seek professional support. Therapists are great tools and can provide strategies to manage and improve self esteem. It's common to evaluate ourselves occasionally, but it's great to hear another person's perspective when this habit becomes frequent and intense. It's crucial to be compassionate toward ourselves, acknowledge our value, and counter our harsh inner voice. Being too hard on yourself doesn't mean you're weak or flawed. It just means you're human. And, like every other human, you deserve compassion and kindness from others. And most importantly, from yourself. Mind versus environment. We are in a constant dance between our minds and the environment around us. It's a never ending push and pull between external circumstances shaping our thoughts and beliefs, shaping how we interpret and react to our environment. This intricate relationship forms the basis of this section. Let's begin with the mind's influence on our environment. Our mind is incredibly powerful. It houses our thoughts, perceptions, and emotions, collectively shaping our reality. Every action we take originates from an idea or a feeling. When you decide to apply for a new job, it's because your mind perceives it as a good opportunity. When you choose to end a toxic friendship, it's because your mind perceives it as harmful. Our mind dictates how we navigate and shape our environment in many ways. Our thoughts can also influence how we perceive our environment. A positive mindset often leads to a more positive perception of our surroundings. If we wake up in the morning thinking it's going to be a good day, we're likely to perceive the day's events more positively. This illustrates how our mind can shape our reality. But this interaction isn't one-sided. Our environment also significantly impacts our minds. For instance, a peaceful, well-organized environment can bring calmness and clarity to our minds. On the other hand, a chaotic, stressful environment will lead to feelings of anxiety and restlessness. If your house looks like chaos, your mind is probably in a war zone. If your living environment is pleasant, tidy, and clean, your mind is more relaxed than staring at clutter and disorganization. Our physical environment isn't the only factor. Our social environment plays a massive role too. The people around us, their attitudes, behaviors, and values significantly influence our own. You're more likely to develop positive thinking patterns and behaviors in a supportive social environment. In contrast, a hostile social environment can lead to self doubt, negativity, and unhealthy behaviors. So the question remains, who's controlling whom? The answer is that the mind and the environment influence each other, creating a complex interplay. It's a constant cycle of action and reaction, input and output. Our mind controls our actions, which shape our environment. And in turn, our environment shapes our mind. This knowledge brings wisdom, the power to use our minds to shape our environment beneficially, and the power to create an environment that nurtures our minds. Here are a few ways we can do this. Nurture positive thoughts. Practice mindfulness and cognitive restructuring techniques to nurture positive thoughts and challenge negative ones. Create a positive environment. Aim to create a peaceful, organized physical environment. Surround yourself with positive, supportive people. Use your environment to influence your mind positively. Take advantage of the influence of your environment on your mind. Use mood lighting, comforting scents, or uplifting music to induce a positive state of mind. Use your actions to positively impact your environment. This could involve standing up against negativity, implementing organizational strategies, or setting boundaries with toxic people. In the end, understanding the dance between our mind and environment empowers us to take control of both. It allows us to build a positive internal world and a conducive external world, leading to overall mental wellness. You will either own your mind or let your mind hold you captive. It's a mutual relationship, one that we have the power to navigate. Chapter 4: The Overflowing Mind. When we can no longer change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves, said Viktor E. Frankl, a prominent psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor. Frankel's words resonate with many who experience the ceaseless tide of intrusive thoughts. These are the echoes of the mind that we must confront and learn to navigate. Our minds are incredibly sophisticated. They constantly take in new information, process our past experiences, and project them into our potential future. This mental machinery might seem to work in overdrive for anyone dealing with mental battles. Past experiences, especially those marked by trauma, anxiety, or stress, often persist in our minds, replaying themselves in the form of lingering thoughts. Our memory is an essential part of who we are. It shapes our identities, helps us learn from the past, and provides a foundation for future decisions. However, it can sometimes become a hindrance when it fails to let go of distressing experiences, leading to intrusive thoughts. In a way, these lingering thoughts are potential remnants of past experiences that our mind struggles to process or let go of. Understanding the nature of these lingering thoughts is the first step toward taking back control. They are, in essence, mental representations of our past experiences, filled with emotions, sensory impressions, and sometimes distorted interpretations. They often appear without our explicit control and can trigger strong emotional reactions. Imagine you're standing in the middle of a calm, serene lake. Now, picture throwing a pebble into the water. What happens? It disrupts the calmness and creates ripples. This is a metaphor for how lingering thoughts work. An intrusive idea is like a pebble. Once it enters your mind, it creates waves in your emotional state, leading to distress and, at times, compulsive behavior to alleviate the pain. It's critical to recognize that everyone experiences intrusive thoughts occasionally. Here are some strong examples. Have you ever walked near the edge of a cliff and suddenly had the idea, What if I fell off? Or while driving, imagined. And what if someone swerved into my lane? These are different forms of intrusive thoughts. But for most people, they come and go without causing much distress. After all, they are just thoughts. However, for those struggling with obsessive compulsive disorder, these thoughts become amplified. They linger, and their intensity can be overwhelming. They stick around, creating those distressing ripples in the calm lake of your mind. Lingering thoughts are not inherently dangerous, they are simply thoughts. But they can become problematic when they dictate your behavior or consume too much mental energy. They become like a song stuck on repeat, constantly playing in the background, sometimes louder, sometimes softer, but always there. There are many strategies to handle these thoughts effectively. One common approach is using cognitive behavioral therapy, which focuses on changing thought practices and behaviors. It teaches you to recognize the thought for what it is, just a thought, and then shift your response to it. Another strategy involves mindfulness and acceptance. This approach requires you to accept the presence of the intrusive thought without judging it or acting on it. It's about acknowledging the thought as part of your mental landscape, but not allowing it to control your behavior. You don't have to feel helpless in the face of lingering thoughts. By understanding their nature, acknowledging their presence, and using appropriate strategies to manage them, you can reduce their impact and regain control over your mental well being. Remember that the goal isn't to completely eliminate these thoughts. That's often impossible. It can lead to even more frustration. Instead, the aim is to learn to live with them without letting them hijack your peace of mind. It's about changing your relationship with these thoughts, transforming them from tormentors into mere spectators in the theater of your mind. Robin Williams once said, "No matter what people tell you, words and ideas can change the world. Your mind is a garden. Your thoughts are the seeds, and the harvest can either be flowers or weeds." Robin understood the power of our thoughts and how they can shape our experiences and the world around us. He also acknowledged that our minds can sometimes feel like they're overflowing. But it's essential to tend to our thoughts like a garden and plant positive seeds to nourish our minds. The power of positivity. The phrase, "we are what we think," highlights the immense influence that our thoughts can have on our lives. These self opinions can be either positive or negative. If we allow ourselves to be consumed by negative and intrusive thoughts, they can drag us down and lead us into a spiral of despair. When we fuel our minds with positive thoughts, it can lift our spirits, inspire resilience, and be a catalyst for change. I aim to shed light on the power of positivity and how to feed the mind with nourishing thoughts. One example of nurturing the mind is by filling it with positive thoughts and ideas. This can be achieved by intentionally seeking uplifting and inspiring content, such as motivational speeches, books, or podcasts. Positivity is not just about plastering a smile on your face or denying the existence of problems. It's about adopting an optimistic look, which allows you to see beyond the current difficulties and believe in the possibility of better outcomes. It's about acknowledging challenges and directing your energy towards solutions rather than dwelling on the problems. The benefits of maintaining a positive mindset are well documented in scientific literature. Studies have shown positive thinking can reduce stress levels, improve mental health, and enhance physical activity. It can boost resilience, which is the ability to bounce back from adversity. Positivity can also foster a sense of hope and well being, acting as a buffer against depressive reflections. Fostering positivity may seem hopeless, and intrusive thoughts can feel like they've set up a permanent camp in your mind, leaving little room for positive growth. You might wonder, how can I think of any positive thoughts when my mind is frequently filled with distressing ones? The good news is you have the ability to steer your mind towards positivity. It might not be easy at first, but with practice and patience, it's certainly achievable. It starts with a conscious decision to focus on the positive. Here's an example of changing a mindset. A couple yells at each other, and children may be present, listening to each person emotionally vocalizing their opinions. Everyone involved sees and hears the dynamics. Nobody enjoys being in the room. The situation has reached a boiling point, and everyone involved is not shying away from addressing it. Whether through discussions, arguments, or negotiations, the parties are eager to make their points and make themselves heard. While such interactions can often be emotionally challenging and lead people to lose their composure, it's perfectly normal for individuals to express their feelings. Everyone involved had a chance to vent their frustrations and either agree or disagree with the ideas presented. Through this process of emotional expression, the couple and the child have learned the importance of managing intense emotions and taking a step back to calm down. They now have the option of either understanding each other's feelings and working toward resolving the issue at hand, or simply agreeing to disagree and moving on with their lives. Routine outbursts aren't healthy, but venting to each other can be completely normal, as you have different unique people trying to live amongst each other. As time passes, the brain might repeat what happened, try new approaches, and consider different outcomes. Either way, you can imagine how everyone feels on the topic. You can either live in the past or keep yourself in the present. What is done, and words cannot be unsaid. Everyone did come out stronger, even if anyone felt defeated. Concerns need to be addressed and handled, because nobody should sweep any issues under the rug. People can always learn a little more about communicating and avoiding problems. Another lesson learned from that example is how to negotiate. Life isn't all peaches and cream. All parties involved will need a new form of mental reconstruction. One effective technique is the use of positive affirmations. These are statements that you can repeat to yourself and are designed to encourage positive thinking and self empowerment. Examples include phrases like, I am capable, I can handle this, or I choose to focus on better decisions. The key is to choose declarations that resonate with you and reflect your aspirations. Another technique is a gratitude practice. Focusing on what you're thankful for can shift your attention away from negative thoughts and foster a more positive outlook. You can utilize a journal to jot down 3 things you're grateful for each day. They don't have to be big things. Sometimes simple joys can bring the most positivity. It'll take longer if you're not used to drafting ideas on paper. Just like prayer, you get better the more you practice. Engaging in activities that bring satisfaction can also feed your mind with positivity. Whether it's a hobby you love, spending time in nature, or simply listening to uplifting music, find what makes your heart light up and make time for it regularly. It's vital to remember, embracing positivity doesn't mean ignoring or suppressing negative thoughts. It's about balancing them with positive thoughts, helping you navigate the challenges with resilience and optimism. Fostering a positive mindset may not erase your intrusive thoughts, but it will weaken their grip on you. It can make your mental garden a nurturing place where beautiful flowers bloom amidst the weeds. And as you feed your mind with positivity, you may become what you think, a stronger, more resilient, and hopeful individual, capable of weathering the storms of life. The way we think about ourselves can have a significant impact on our cognitive function and overall well-being. If you commit to positively changing your feelings and abilities, you can transform yourself into a whole new you. Even a 1% weekly improvement can lead to significant changes over time. When concerning your life events, ponder on how to learn from the moments versus taking anything personally. For example, if you struggle with negative self talk, you could commit to replacing one negative thought with a positive one each day. Over time, this can shift your mindset, and you'll begin to see yourself transformed in a positive light. This can have a ripple effect on your cognitive function, leading to increased confidence, motivation, and productivity. The key to making this approach work is to be intentional and consistent. It's not enough to simply say positive affirmations once in a while. It would help if you made a conscious effort to reframe your thoughts and beliefs about yourself on a regular basis. By doing so, you'll create new neural pathways in your brain, leading to a more positive and resilient mindset. So, if you're looking to improve your cognitive function and transform yourself into a whole new you, start by making a positive change in how you think about yourself, even if it's just a 1% improvement each week. We can become more robust when we grow in developmental strength, be better equipped to address life's challenges and setbacks, and more confident and resilient in the face of adversity. We can bounce back from setbacks more quickly and move forward with a sense of purpose and determination. Millions of people see and hear things they don't like and expect everything to stop, versus handling their own emotions. Don't think someone else will view everything the same way you do. The power of positivity lies within you. It's a tool at your disposal, ready to be harnessed. So, feed your mind well, cultivate your mental garden, and let the power of positivity transform your life. Remember, it all begins with a single positive thought. Let that thought be your seed and watch your personality grow. The role of external influences. We are not secluded islands, but individuals immersed in a world filled with influences that shape our perceptions, beliefs, and thoughts. We'll explore how actions, movies, and words can significantly impact our mental well being, particularly for those wrestling with intrusive thoughts. Let's start with actions, the things we do, and how we behave. Our actions have a powerful influence on our thoughts. Think about it. When you've had a bad day and you force yourself to go for a run, you might notice a shift in your mindset afterward. Despite the initial reluctance, the act of running can create a more positive mental state. This is due to the endorphins that physical exercise releases, often termed feel good hormones. Establish a routine. This decisive action can bring a sense of control and predictability, which is particularly beneficial for those handling any issue. The body and the mind enjoy knowing everything is going to plan. Sometimes it freaks out when anything is unscheduled. Mindful activities. Engaging in mindfulness practices like yoga or meditation can help you ground you in the present, drawing your focus away from distressing thoughts. If you're like many people who don't care for yoga, some gyms have a cycle class where you pedal on a bike, riding on an adventure utilizing a big screen. The focus is to let your mind escape for a while as you go on a journey visiting new places. Healthy lifestyle choices involve eating a balanced diet, maintaining good sleep hygiene, and exercising regularly. These actions can boost your overall health, making coping with mental health challenges easier. Eating stress food, also known as junk, will only leave you feeling like bleh. You become what you eat. Watch what you ingest. Next, we consider the influence of movies, or more broadly, the media. Movies are more than a source of entertainment. They are a powerful medium that can shape our thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes. A well crafted film can immerse us in its world, evoke strong emotions, and leave a lasting impact on our minds. However, it's essential to recognize that not all influences from movies are positive. Graphic scenes, violent content, or stigmatizing portrayals of mental health issues can trigger distressing thoughts and reinforce negative stereotypes. How to mindfully manage movies. Today's world is surrounded by all kinds of media, from online social feeds to programming and news platforms. There's an endless stream of information available at our fingertips. While some of this content can be uplifting and inspiring, others can be excessively violent, graphic, or distressing. Be mindful of what you watch, because it can significantly impact your mental well being. One way to prioritize our mental health is by choosing what we allow our eyes to see. Opting for movies or shows that inspire positivity, resilience, and hope is a game changer. The content influences our mood, thoughts, and emotions. We can improve our mental health by choosing content that uplifts and inspires us. Leaving the theater with more feelings than we arrived, for instance, watching a heartwarming movie or documentary, can evoke positive emotions like joy, gratitude, and empathy. It's also essential to have a critical viewing mindset. While watching TV, be aware of the potential influence the content can have on our thoughts. Sometimes movies or local programming can perpetuate harmful stereotypes or promote unrealistic expectations. Awareness of these elements can help us develop a necessary mindset and avoid accepting everything we see on the screen at face value. Another aspect is limiting exposure to triggering or distressing content. This is one reason people don't enjoy watching the news, as they inherently display negativity versus positivity. If a particular show causes anxiety, fear, or distress, switch it off, leave the area, or do something else to change the direction of the mind. Our mental health should always take priority, especially for children. We must be aware of our emotional reactions to the content we consume. We should never feel obligated to watch something negatively impacting our mental health. Choose uplifting content. Opt for movies that inspire positivity, resilience, and hope. Don't watch too much sensitive programming. You will be pushed with emotions, and those feelings will cause a spike. Stirring the waters of the mind can become more than a good cry. It can roll into an emotional landslide or a nervous breakdown later. Critical viewing. Avoid accepting everything you see on screen at face value. Develop a necessary mindset and be aware of the movie's potential influence on your thoughts. I've discussed this issue with many people who attend counseling on the issues of watching horror and scary movies. These individuals intentionally push their minds down dark paths, but can't understand why they can't relax and feel calm later on. Limit exposure. If you find specific content triggering or distressing, turn it off. Your mental well being is more important. And the mind is a sponge, it's sensitive. Avoid content that's excessively violent, graphic, or distressing. There are a few movies out there that will mess you up indefinitely. I never mention the titles for the mental safety of others. Some people become desensitized because they feel they can handle it, or it no longer bothers them anymore. You will become your environment, the friends you choose, the material you view, or anything you involve yourself in. Words, spoken and written. The language and what we expose ourselves to can significantly shape our thoughts. For example, being constantly surrounded by negative talk can influence our mindset and make it harder to cope with intrusive thoughts. Here's how to harness the power of words for your mental well being. Positive self talk. This is about the words you say to yourself. Aim for affirming and encouraging self talk. boosting your mood and resilience. Seek out uplifting content, whether it's books, websites, or uplifting music. Choose content that inspires positivity and offers valuable insights into managing mental health challenges. Healthy communication. Try to surround yourself with people who communicate positively. If you're in a distressing or overly negative conversation, it's okay to steer it in a different direction or excuse yourself. People aren't against you, they are in it for themselves, which is actually two different situations. Therefore, actions, movies, and words can significantly influence our mental well being. By being mindful of these influences, we can make better choices that support our mental health while helping us manage and overcome intrusive thoughts. The world around us will continue to buzz with these influences. But remember, you hold the power to select what impacts you and how. By choosing what influences you, you're actively participating toward a peaceful mind and personal growth. Careless living versus long term consequences. Millions of people exist without any goals for their future. You don't want to live life day by day. Focus on being pragmatic and efficient while avoiding the idea of living recklessly. It's important to differentiate between genuinely embracing life and its ups and downs versus engaging in reckless behavior. Think about your future. This area will examine the difference between careless living and understanding the long term consequences. Let's begin by painting a picture of what I mean by careless living. For some, it may involve throwing caution to the wind and acting on impulses. It may mean ignoring responsibilities or living solely in the moment without considering the future. This lifestyle might offer temporary excitement or relief from unpleasant thoughts, but it often falls short in the long run. Living regretfully will have a significantly detrimental effect on anyone, let alone someone struggling with intrusive thoughts. Engaging in impulsive actions as a response to these thoughts may provide momentary relief, but it's unlikely to address the root of the issue. It might even intensify the frequency and severity of intrusive thoughts over time. A person might seek distraction in unhealthy habits, such as excessive consumption of alcohol, binge eating, or even risk taking behaviors. This is the equivalent of applying a flimsy bandage to a deep wound. It might conceal the issue for a while, but it does nothing to facilitate healing. Critical signs of careless living include ignoring responsibilities, neglecting duties at work, school, or home, often leading to additional stress and consequences. Indulging in unhealthy habits, over-reliance on substances like alcohol, tobacco, or food as coping mechanisms. Engaging in risk-taking behaviors, reckless driving, unsafe sex, or any conduct that poses potential harm. Avoid confrontation with issues. Those who brush problems under the carpet rather than face them and seek solutions. Now, let's examine long term consequences and how understanding them can foster a healthier lifestyle and better management. Recognizing the long term implications of our actions is crucial for sustainable growth and progress, particularly in managing mental health. It's about seeing beyond the immediate relief or gratification and focusing on what contributes to healing and well being over time. Understanding long term consequences can empower individuals to make healthier choices. An individual can opt for a grounding technique or cognitive behavioral strategy instead of resorting to compulsive behaviors to relieve anxiety temporarily. While the tension might not dissipate instantly, repeated application of such methods can, over time, lead to a significant decrease in the intensity and frequency of intrusive thoughts. Key aspects of understanding long term consequences include recognizing patterns, identifying recurrent unhealthy behaviors and acknowledging their impact on your well being, making informed decisions. Learn to strive for your life decisions by working hard and climbing your mountain. You can see the world extensively better by being actively involved versus moping around, pondering what if, fostering healthy coping mechanisms. Embrace techniques and habits contributing to mental health. You will always learn more from failure versus success. When anything goes wrong, remember, failure builds character. Plan out your goals, dreams, and ambitions. The mind likes to feel actions becoming a reality. Seek professional help. If your situation is beyond your control, contact a mental health professional. It's a journey of self awareness, acceptance, and patience. It's about making small, conscious daily choices that contribute to your well being and growth. Decisions that may seem small, but when strung together, form a strong web of choices that reinforce healthier habits and thought patterns. It's about looking at the big picture, making conscious decisions that promote your long term well being over momentary satisfaction to escape. At first, the process may seem overwhelming and tedious. It's easy to be drawn to the promise of immediate relief, but it's often short lived and followed by a cycle of increasing distress. However, adopting a long term perspective can lead to lasting changes. It may require enduring short term discomfort and resisting ingrained habits. But the reward is a life that aligns with your actual needs and a resilient mind. Patience is key. Progress may be slow and even feel stagnant at times. You might have days when you slip back into old habits, when the moment's pressure overwhelms your long term perspective. But don't let these moments deter you. Remember that change is not a straight line, but a winding road with its ups and downs. Forgive yourself for the missteps, learn from them, and keep moving forward. Just as a ship adjusts its course in response to the wind and waves, you too can learn to change. The goal is not to achieve perfection, but to better understand yourself and your reactions to intrusive thoughts. It's about learning to manage these thoughts in ways that serve your overall mental health and happiness, not just in the immediate moment, but in the long run. In the coming chapters, we will explore some practical strategies and exercises. You will learn different techniques to help you resist the pull of impulsive actions, manage your intrusive thoughts more effectively, and nurture a healthier, more peaceful mind. As you continue, it's important to stay open minded and remember that every step you take toward understanding and managing your intrusive thoughts brings you closer to a more fulfilling life. Don't shy away from change. Embrace it and look forward to becoming the person you truly want to be. Remember, your past does not define you. It's all about your choices and who you aspire to become. So let go of any negative thoughts or experiences holding you back and focus on the present moment. With each positive step you take, you'll be one step closer to your desired future. As the Bible says in Matthew chapter 6, verse 34. So do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will care for itself. Each day has enough trouble on its own.